What's going on, everybody? It's Josh here with Zero Gravity. I want to give big thanks and shout out to all the people who hit the like button on my last video. You helped it almost go viral. I appreciate it very much. It was the most attention I've gotten in years. And if you wouldn't mind, if you could hit that like button one more time for me, and if this is the second, third, fourth time hearing my amazing voice, please hit that subscribe button so my content can be brought directly to you. Now let's get started. This time I'm bringing to you a kind of dumbed down, as simple as I can make it, kind of thought process of what Palantir does. So if you're a data analyst or anything like that, this probably isn't the video for you, and please don't bother leaving me any negative comments about it because I already know that. All right, so Palantir for Dummies. Like I said, this is the most simple way I could think to break it possibly down. So in this scenario, we're going to look at Billy Bob's barbecue truck. Billy Bob's a great chef. He's been doing it his whole life. He has some of the best barbecue this side of the Mississippi. Everybody loves it. Everywhere he goes, he sells out. He's doing phenomenal, right? So after a few months, years maybe doing this, he starts to grow. He opens up another truck, another truck, another truck. Before you know it, he's got a daggone little franchise going. Now, with all these new trucks, it's hard for him to keep track of everything going on in between them. So he sets up a simple diagram for all of his franchisees. He loads them up with the same amount of meat every morning. They all go out, they sell, they do great, they come back. He crunches the numbers, pays everybody out, everything's good. Now, he starts to realize that some of these trucks aren't just doing as good as the others, and he's kind of confused why, but he can't really tell because he's not in the trucks riding with them every day like that. There's a lot of stuff going on that he can't see. So he gets approached by our friend, Mr. Alex Karp. He pitches the idea of Palantir. Hey, let us take a look at all your analytics. We'll run receipts from all your trucks. We'll take a look at all your inventory. We'll keep track of everything for you. We'll run some of our software, and let you know where you might be missing money and where you can possibly gain some, right? So the truck guy's like, I don't know. That's a lot of money. I don't know if I'm ready to spend that yet. So they work out an agreement anyways. Karp talks him into it. If I can't save you this much money, I'll refund your money, whatever the case is. So Billy Bob decides to go ahead and move forward with Palantir. After Palantir, does a quick data analysis, pretty fast through the trucks, running the receipts, the registers, everything like that. They come up with a few simple things. The first few simple things here is truck A. It turns out they're selling out a brisket every Tuesday and Thursday. Truck B is throwing away 20 pounds of ribs a week, and they sell out of hot dogs almost every single day. Truck C is always out of prime rib on Fridays. Every time Friday comes around, they're completely out. Now, I know to you this seems very simple and not very complex as far as figuring these things out. But when you're running a large scale company such as Billy Bob, and Billy Bob's main focus is bringing a quality product to his customer, he doesn't have the time to sit behind a desk and look through all the numbers in every one of these trucks every single day to try to figure out what they're selling the most of, what they're selling the least of, and all that kind of stuff. He's just trying to create a one-shop-fits-all and keep the business moving. And that's where, once again, Palantir stepped in. So Palantir sends out a few quick and easy things right to Billy Bob, so he's able to make adjustments immediately. So he loads up more brisket every Tuesday and Thursday on truck A. He loads up 20 pounds less ribs on truck B. Loads up an extra 20 pounds of hot dogs in that space. And then he loads up truck C with a bunch of extra prime rib on Fridays. Now, this increases the company's revenue, it lowers their expenses, and it also lowers their waste. Now, the great thing about Palantir is they're also able to project, based on last week's sales, last month's sales, last year's sales, what they'll continue to be selling in the upcoming weeks based on their current production. So their future orders are able to be more prime and exact based on the projections from Palantir. But Palantir doesn't stop there. Palantir also starts looking at the competitors. Turns out every time the barbecue truck is parked next to the taco truck, their sales increase. Every time the barbecue truck is parked near the salad truck, their sales decrease. So simple little placements of where they're parking their vehicles and stuff like that can also make an adjustment and change their business model and increase their net revenues. Now, a lot of people might think that's it. No, Palantir pretty much does it all. Next, turns out one of the trucks goes by the baseball parks every Wednesday. And on the way back, they catch rush hour every single Wednesday. Usually they're stuck in rush hour for about 2 hours. Well, Palantir takes a quick look at it, and turns out in their history, there was a park about 15 minutes south that on average, they do at least a few $100s of sales there in the evenings. So instead of the truck just heading straight back to the shop, it can cruise south about 15 minutes, set up at the park for about an hour, pick up an extra, $300, $400, $500 in revenue, and then drive back on the southbound track and end up taking the same amount of 2 hours to get back. Only this time they're going back with a couple extra $100 in revenue. Now, some of the great things about Palantir is when you start looking at it in other facets and abilities. Now, one of the biggest things that we see a lot of the health contracts, the military contracts and stuff, and what they're being used for is, say, each hospital on average, you have 20 to 50 patients incoming every hour through your emergency room. That's a lot of data, a lot of information. You have the blood pressure, the temperature checks, everything else going on, and the hospitals don't have time to sit down and try to analyze that. And plus, the amount of time it would take to analyze it, just the 1 hour would probably take them weeks to analyze. But with a system like Palantir, it can take all of that information and within minutes be able to capture if, hey, there's been a spike in patients coming in with increased temperatures. Hey, there's been a spike in customers coming in with low blood pressure. There's been a spike in this or that or another. And one of the great things is this, it makes it easier for them to predict pandemics, epidemics, and plagues. And it also allows them to catch it in the extreme early phases. Just like with COVID, if this would have been employed and in constant use, we probably would have known about it much quicker and faster. And it can also tell you hotspots such as states, areas, and stuff like that. It breaks it down into full detail of any hot zones. Now, this was advertised on your demo day, or your double click day, as research. And one of the great things about research is, with research, there's millions and millions of pieces of information across millions of patients. Whenever you're trying to figure anything out, there's just a lot of information coming at you, especially with patients. Most of their trials, are 50 to 100, 150 people, and they're checking all their vitals, all their blood work, everything like that. It's a lot of information for analysts to sit down and spend weeks trying to go over and catch similarities and trends. Palantir is able to do this in seconds, and they're also able to use AI so they can do predictive analysis. So based on all the research we've did in the past, they can make predictive analysis of what might happen in the future with future trials. And one of the big things is, and they can also predict, like with the pandemics, epidemics, stuff like that, is based on the increase of cases, how long it'll take to reach 1 million people, how long it'll take to reach other states, how long it would take to cover the country. All that kind of stuff is done within a matter of seconds, when normally it would take analysts, days and days and days to pile through paperwork and put together these numbers. Palantir can do it in a matter of seconds. The other big thing is cures, and it's a lot similar to the patients as I was discussing earlier, but looking at the past results, they can generate predictive results. So when they're working on diabetes, cancer, anything like that, they could plow through all these years and years of research and catch similarities and trends that even a human eye may not catch. Say small elevated spikes in blood pressures, or white blood cell counts, red blood cell counts, just small little things that a human eye may not catch, Palantir could catch in a matter of seconds. And one of the big things I always think of is Kathy Wood. She picks up a lot of Palantir. She loves Palantir, and she loves it across many different placets or different levels. And one of the big things I think about is she's real big into genomics, and I think Palantir could be essential in that, because with each DNA strand or anything with genes, there's millions and millions of pieces of information, and in order to do that research, you're going to have to process those millions and millions of pieces of information off of each individual person, but then you're also going to have to do it by the millions and millions of people. So being able to catch one genotype or something like that causes cancer or causes diabetes and something like that, and being able to identify it quickly, I think Palantir would be effective in doing that. And I think they would definitely be used in the research placid. Now, I appreciate each and every one of you that hung out here till the end. And like I said before, I really appreciate it if you smash that like button. And if this is the first, second, third, fourth, fifth time hearing my voice, please hit that subscribe button, and I'll be bringing you more great content every week. I appreciate it very much, you guys. Y'all have a great evening.